Hello students, welcome to the CBSE English class of Studyzest, the world of educational solutions. Today I will be taking up and continuing the chapter that I started in the previous class, that belongs from your textbook Beehive. The chapter is The Fun They Had, a story by Isaac Asimov. Okay, today I will be discussing in depth, in line by line, the text, and we'll see how enjoyable and how relevant that chapter it is for us today. Okay, but before delving into the class, would like to remind you of the social media platforms through which you can connect with us. Do subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon so that you can get notified whenever a new video comes up. Like us on Facebook for daily updated study materials. Join our Telegram channel using this link here. You can find us there. Follow us on Instagram. Join our WhatsApp group using this number. And for more information, you can log into the website www.studyzest.in. And as you can see here, our YouTube channel looks like this. Do subscribe to our channel and like, share and comment on our videos. Show us some love and we will continue uploading new videos relating to your academics. And this is our Facebook page. This is how it looks. Like us on Facebook for daily updated materials on your academic subjects. Now, today I will be moving on with the story. Let us concentrate on the story. I have given you a fair amount of discussion and introduction actually about what a science fiction is and how this story becomes a science fiction. Science, that means you can say the story is set in the year 2157. Margie's date of writing her diary. Okay, 17th May, that is 17th May 2115, right? Now 57. Now obviously this is a future, this relates future. You can see that this is the future year. Now standing in 2020, we cannot say what happens in future, what will happen in future. We can't even say if the world will exist up until that time. But all we can say is that we can imagine a scientific scenario. Okay, we can imagine that the education process, which is already on its way to being digitized, will be more progressive by the year 2157 comes. Okay, and now before beginning the story, I would like to mention this thing, that consider, first of all, just calm yourself and consider your own situation right now, right at this point. You have been a student, you are in class 9 now, and you have been going to the school for your past the student life that you have had up until class 8. Okay, I assume. Now you have had that culture. You had that culture of interacting with school surroundings. Okay, do you remember? Do you miss that school surroundings? Now in the COVID situation, COVID crisis, we actually do not know when it will get over. Okay, that is the harsh truth, a very difficult thing to understand. But the one thing that is there will always be education, okay, in any form. So now the teachers, the education system, authorities of them, they are trying their best to give you your education to so that you do not have to skip on your education system, right? So for that reason, from the point this COVID crisis started, you are in your home. I can say you are safely guided. I hope you are safely guided in your room, and whenever there are classes, there are scheduled classes from school, there are scheduled classes from your tuitions, and everything is being conducted through your laptop, through your Android phone or your desktop. Basically everything is given to you. Every educational resources are given to you through the digital platform, through computers basically, right? Now imagine this, that it has been 4 months now you have been in this condition. Now do you miss your friends? Do you miss that tiffin hour when you used to sit back for that half an hour or 40 minutes, your tiffin time, when you used to, steal your friends a tiffin, you used to gossip, you used to play in the field, you had the liberty, you had the freedom to move around from one class to another, you had the liberty of choosing your friends and see them on regular basis. Do you miss your teachers? Do you actually consider that this digital platform of teaching can replace the actual physical presence of a teacher whom you can connect with one-to-one in a one-to-one conversation? If you can't understand one thing, you could directly go to your teacher and ask him or her about your problem, relating your problem. But consider this thing before beginning the story, that we are living in a digitized world, and which is getting progressively digitized by minute as I speak. But when you really consider it, do you or don't you miss your actual school surroundings, your school field, the swimming pool you might had in your school, the school corridors, and your teachers, your beloved teachers? So consider that, and let us begin the story now. Okay, Margie even wrote about it that night in her diary. On the page headed 17th May 2157, this date is very important for exam, by the way. She wrote, "Today Tommy found a real book. It was very old book. Margie's grandfather once said that when he was a little boy, his grandfather told him that there was a time when all stories were printed on paper." So what does this little girl Margie writes in her diary? She writes, she records in her diary that she records that her cousin Tommy has found a real book. You see, real. A real means a printed book for her. Okay, the normal books that we read now. Okay, the paperbacks. So it is a very old book, and she remembers now that Margie's grandfathers had said to her that his grandfather, मतलब कि दादा के दादा, परदादा जो होते हैं हिंदी में जिसको बोला जाता है, he had told him about stories of his childhood. वो जब छोटे थे तो उनके टाइम पे प्रिंटेड बुक्स होते थे, राइट? बुक्स जो हम अभी पढ़ते हैं, हार्ड कवर्ड बुक्स जो हम पढ़ते हैं, तो वैसे बुक्स प्रिंटेड होते थे, ठीक है? दे टर्न्ड पेजेस विच वेर येलो एंड क्रिंकली. तो क्या हुआ? मार्जी एंड टॉमी, दे फाउंड दिस क्रिंकली ओल्ड बुक. क्रिंकली, that means it has wrinkles, okay, in the pages. It is yellow, it is very old, and now they are turning the pages. They have never seen anything like this, and it was awfully funny to read words that stood still instead of moving the way they were supposed to on a screen, you know. That means this story, which is set in 2157 here, these children, as you can see in the picture, they had this moving platform for reading. That means the text they read came on, flashed on in front of their eyes, and they moved on. Okay, they didn't have to turn the pages. So when they found a real book with real printed words on it, they read it with so much childish curiosity. Okay, and it interested them with so much new questions, right? And they started flipping the pages, and then they turned back to the page before. It had the same word on it that it had when they read it the first time. This is very important, that turning the pages, obviously the words will not change if you change the page in your hardcover, but in the future you will have digitized you have digitized text, where you won't have the luxury of turning the paper and go back to the previous page. That is what here is being referred to. So you can see here how ebook looks and how printed book looks, right? Next part of the story says, "Gee," said Tommy. Gee, that means it's an exclamatory remark, okay, that Tommy says. He's kind of, what can I say? He's bored, okay. He says, "What a waste. When you are through with the book, you just throw it away, I guess." So Tommy had no idea what a person could do with a real book. Okay, a real book that you can turn pages of, that you can read the printed words of it. Tommy had no idea. Tommy is a 13-year-old boy. He had no idea. He had own notions. He had own imaginations. And he said, "What should we do with this book? What would the people do with this book? I think it is a waste." Okay, I think when people used to read these books, they would just throw them away after they had read it. Okay, our television screen must have had million books on it, and it's good for plenty more. I wouldn't throw it away. So this line is very important. I wouldn't throw it away. Who says this? Tommy says this. Tommy says that I much prefer my own television screen on which I have millions of books, okay, and I can never throw it away. I will never throw it away. Tommy shows his love, his appreciation for his own digital ebooks, okay. As you can see here, ebooks, or basically we know it as the Kindle. Here you can store millions of books. Depending on the storage system, you can store unlimited books, okay. That's what is in Tommy talking about. In future, he has this television screen where there may be millions of books on millions of subjects, and you can't throw it away, okay. "Same with mine," said Margie. But same with mine, that means Margie also says that she also has a televised digital reading book. But she doesn't. She says this with some kind of sadness. Tommy says he wouldn't throw it away because Tommy loves it. But Margie is kind of disappointed with the digital process of learning. Okay. She was 11 and hadn't seen as many telebooks as Tommy had. Tommy was 13. He was 13. She said, that means Margie said, "Where did you find it?" Where did you find it means Margie asks Tommy, "Where did you find the real book?" "In my house," he pointed without looking because he was busy reading. "In the attic." What is it about? "School." Tommy says he was busy in reading. Tommy says very casually, "I found it in my attic." Okay, attic means the small room in the storeroom in the roof. Normally it's situated in the roofs, okay, and used for storing things. So he says that he found the book in his attic, and he says this book, this real book, is about school, right? The real printed book, its subject is school, Tommy says, a 13-year-old boy. Then Margie was scornful. Scornful. What is the meaning of scornful? Scornful means contempt. Contempt means she was like really, I don't know what is school. I don't know what school is. Okay, so she was kind of skeptical about it. मतलब उसको ये समझ में नहीं आ रहा था कि स्कूल क्या है and उसके बारे में किताब क्यों लिखा जा रहा है. So Margie was scornful. School? What's there to write about school? I hate school. Okay, she was very straightforward with her statement. I hate school. Okay, and why would anyone write book about it? Margie always hated school, but now she hated it more than ever. This is very important part of Margie's character. Okay, realize this, that Margie is a little girl of 11. Already she hates the process of her education system, which is digital. Okay, Margie hates the digital education system. She hated it before, now she hates it even more. The mechanical teacher had been giving her test after tests in geography, and she had been doing worse and worse until her mother had shaken her head sorrowfully and sent for the county inspector. So this is very important, that why is Margie so hateful about her school and her education system? First of all, she doesn't like this e-learning at all. Okay, even when she didn't have any idea about printed books or real books, she just hated the idea of sitting in front of a screen and looking at words moving in front of her eyes. She hated that. And now she hated that more because she had to give tests to her mechanical teacher, who is a robot. Okay, and she has been doing worse and worse in all of her tests, and her mother is very upset with this, and that's why she has called a county inspector. Who is a county inspector? A person who checks and repairs robots and machines. Okay, a person who checks on robots and machines is known as county inspector. How did he look? He was a round little man with red face and whole box of tools with dials and wires. Because he was a mechanic, so he had his box of tools. He smiled at Margie and gave her an apple, then took the teacher apart. That means the man came, the county inspector came, the mechanic with his toolbox, and he took the mechanical teacher, that is the robot, he took it with him. And as a gift, he gave an apple to Margie. Okay, and Margie had hoped he wouldn't know how to put it together again, but he knew how, all right. And after an hour or so, there it was again, large and black and ugly, with a big screen on which all the lessons were shown and the questions were asked. So you see, a very little girl like Margie, she is already disappointed and she's praying to God that, oh God, please don't let this mechanical teacher be put together again. Please Bhagwan, इसे ठीक मत होने दो. ठीक है? That was her prayer. But to all her dismay, क्या हुआ? After 1 hour, the whole big mechanical teacher was all set up properly in front of her. It was large and black and ugly, with a big screen in front of her which showed questions and lessons which she hated. Okay, now that wasn't so bad. The part Margie hated most was the slot where she had to put homework and test papers. So she saw the mechanical teacher being rebooted, being repaired and coming in front of her. Set up in front of her. So she thought, okay, that is also I can accept. ये इतना भी बुरा नहीं है. लेकिन जो उसको ज़्यादा खराब लगता था, the thing that she hated most was the slot where she had to put her homework. She did not like to do her homework or give tests. Okay, she always had to write them out in a punch code. They made her learn when she was 6 years old. You know how already it is difficult to learn the letters, the numbers for a child. Okay, and for a child of 6 years old, teaching her punch code was not a very happy experience for little Margie. So she hated the whole process of punching the answers into the machine. And the mechanical teacher calculated the marks in no time. So she put her answers and she got her marks in no time. Now, the inspector had smiled after he was finished and patted Margie's head. He said to her mother, "It's not little girl's fault, Mrs. Jones. I think the geography sector was geared a little too quick." Geared, that means set up. Okay, so what did the mechanic say? Mechanic says that it was not the fault of little Margie, Mrs. Jones. Mrs. Jones was her mother. So the mechanic says that it was the geography part of the mechanical teacher that was set up too quick, and little Margie couldn't catch up with it. Okay, so that's why her marks wouldn't go up. Those things happen sometimes. I have slowed it up to an average 10-year level. Actually, the whole overall pattern of her progress is quite satisfactory. Now, the mechanic here, the county inspector, assures Mrs. Jones that Margie ठीक है, उसके साथ कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, प्रॉब्लम एक्चुअली मशीन में ही था. ये ऐसा कभी कभी होता है. And he patted Margie's head again. Margie was disappointed. She had been hoping that they would take the teacher away altogether. Little Margie, she in her imagination thought that once the teacher has been taken away, it will not return to her ever again, and she will be freed. But to her dismay, it was returned to her again. They had once taken Tommy's teacher away for nearly a month because history sector has blanked out completely. So she said to Tommy, "Why would anyone write about school?" So she now considers that Tommy's situation was once very happy because his teacher was taken away because the history section went blank. Now that she remembers all of these things, Margie thinks school is a very bad thing. Education system is a very bad thing. So why would anyone write about school? Tommy looked at her with very superior eyes. Superior eyes, that means कि वो बड़ा भाई है ना, तो इसीलिए that kind of superiority उसके आँख में था. He said, "Because it's not our kind of school, stupid. This is the old kind of school that they had hundreds and hundreds of years ago." Now, Tommy, he considers himself the bigger brother. He says to little Margie that this is not our kind of school. Our kind of school is in our home, okay? We can access to it from our bedrooms. But this school, the printed book, the real book, talks about the school which was hundreds and hundreds of years ago. It was completely different from our schooling system. He added loftily. Loftily, that means he showed that he knows many things, okay? And pronouncing the word carefully, centuries ago. Centuries ago, that means hundreds of years ago. Margie was hurt. Well, I don't know what kind of school they had all that time ago. She read the book over his shoulder for a while, then said, "Anyway, they had a teacher." Margie became disappointed. Little Margie was already disappointed with her scores, the whole digital process of learning. And now when she heard about this old schooling system, she became more disappointed and kind of hurt. And she read the book and she said kind of sadly that anyway, they had a teacher. That means they had a human teacher, okay? Not a robot. Robot as a teacher is not as equal to one-to-one human interaction. Human interaction is always better than any kind of digital resources that you can get. Sure, they had a teacher, but it wasn't a regular teacher. It was a man. A man? How could a man be a teacher? So Tommy says, sure, they had a teacher, but it wasn't a regular teacher. It was a man. Then Margie becomes more surprised. A man, a human teacher, how can he be a teacher? Well, he just told the boys and girls things and gave them homework and asked them questions. So this is what Tommy's imagination told him, that a teacher in the old school was a person who would talk to the boys and girls and give them homework and ask them questions. A man isn't smart enough. Sure he is. My father knows as much as my teacher. He knows almost as much. I betcha. Betcha means it is like a very common word when we say in conversation. We say I bet you. वहीं से ये हो जाता है I betcha. Okay. So Tommy says Margie says that a man is not smart enough to be a teacher, because she has always seen a robotic teacher. But Tommy, being the older one that he is, he says, sure, my father is very smart. He is as smart as my robotic teacher. He knows almost everything. Margie wasn't prepared to dispute that. Margie was not in the mood to actually quarrel or argue. So she said, I wouldn't want a strange man in my house to teach me. So she said, I never would want a strange man to come in my house and to teach me. That would be awkward. Tommy screamed with laughter. You don't know much, Margie. The teachers didn't live in the house. Tommy screamed with laughter because Tommy thought that he knew much more than Margie knew. He said that you know nothing, Margie. जो टीचर्स थे वो घर में नहीं रहते थे. Teachers didn't live in the houses. They had a special building and all the kids went there. Okay, so they had a special building named school where all the kids went, and here they had teachers. That was the education process hundreds of years ago, and all the kids learned the same thing. Sure, if they were the same age. Okay, and the kids went there and they would just go there, and if they were of same age, they would be allotted in the same class and they would learn the same thing. Okay, now with that, I would just like to sum up this, that consider your present real situation today and then read the story. You could relate yourself with the condition of the story, and the little bit part that is remaining, the end of the story, I will end in the next class. Up until then, I would like to thank you for joining me. I hope you got a fair idea of the story today. Like, share our videos and do subscribe to our videos. Till then, take care and goodbye.